Well, been seeing a lot of talks about how minimum wage needs to be raised and stuff for a living wage. You see, well, California tried it with their $20 and stuff, but people seem to think that you just raise minimum wage and that just makes a cure for things. It'll fix everyone's problems. It's like obviously you have no understanding of economics, supply demand. So like increasing minimum wage doesn't make products more accessible. It'll actually make them less accessible. And here's why. You're raising the amount of currency available with the minimum wage, but you're not increasing production at all. So when you increase the currency with the minimum wage without increasing production, you're artificially inflating demand because now all of these people have more money, but it's still only the same amount of goods to spend it on. So increase in demand, no increase in supply. Now you will increase scarcity, which then will increase prices. Right? That's how it's going to work. Because if you give a guy, we'll say you got $10 to spend. Now you're bumped up, so now you got $15 to spend. But so does everyone else. And they're going to rush out because they got this money burning in their pocket and they're going to spend it. Store shelves are going to go empty because all this stuff's getting spent. This extra money's getting spent. And, now that the supplies are dwindling, it's scarcity. Increase the prices. Like, it's literally how inflation works. The second thing is, if you get a minimum wage increase, that will typically mean you're making more money yearly. And governments tend not to raise the poverty line very often, or very fast, or very far. So now you're making this extra money all year long. You haven't, the government won't have raised the bottom line on the tax brackets. So now you're just farther into the tax bracket, meaning you're paying more taxes on top of the inflation caused by the extra currency. So essentially what a minimum wage increase does is it screws you two ways on the money end, and then there's the skills end. Okay. Now, I could say pay $10 an hour for some unskilled job. Okay, cool. I need a couple guys to do it. Okay, I'll pay two guys $10 an hour and get it done. Okay, now it's $15 an hour. It's an unskilled job. I'll hire one guy with some skills for 20. Now he's got to do the work of two men. Like, and those guys that had no skills, well, now, at $10, sure, okay, I could throw them, a person could throw them some unskilled labor work, but at $15, those unskilled laborers, they're not worth it. So now they can't find work. Because if you got to pay a higher wage, you're going to go for more qualified people. You're going to go for people that are more capable. So now you've just basically cut out all the entry job, like people trying to find an entry job into to marketplace and stuff like that. They're like a 16-year-old is going to get passed up for the 20-year-old that has worked before. Whereas When it's a $10 job, you don't care. Whichever one's available first, you can pick them up. But yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that billion-dollar corporations aren't price gouging like McDonald's and shit. But I'm just saying, like, raising the minimum wage without raising production will just drive inflation. It will just make your buying power less because you're increasing the currency without increasing the amount of stuff that can be bought with said currency. So to balance it out, the product will get more expensive because otherwise you're going to have worthless currency. Like, if you don't raise the prices and everything gets bought out, you're going to have a bunch of people that got this extra money that they can't buy anything with, which will then crush faith in the dollar, which will then lead to economic collapse. Because if you don't have faith in your money, then the money is worthless. Like, we're not a standardized currency. We're a fiat currency. So when they introduce currency that doesn't have to have a standard value, the value of it will just drop. Like, if it was standardized and they're like, oh, we're putting another this much into the economy, this much extra cash into the economy, it would mean that they'd have to back it up with some gold so it would hold that value. But there's no major currencies that have been standardized since like the 70s when Nixon de-standardized the American dollar. And if you look at interest rate hikes, there's a big one after World War II when all the reparations came in and all that shit. Like Germany had to pay reparations and all. There's a big spike. Kind of cooled off for a few years. And another big spike in the 70s when the dollar was de-standardized and a whole bunch was printed off. Like, look at the COVID. What the fuck did they call those? I can't remember what they called it here in Canada, but you could get payments. And then, boom! Inflation. Who could have seen that coming? Anyone worth a brain, which probably explains why none of our government's seen it coming. But that's another story. But yeah, if a politician tells you that they're going to help you out by raising minimum wage, don't vote for that politician because they're either lying through their ass because they know what the negative effects will be, but they're just trying to pander for votes, or they actually believe that they'll be helping the middle class or the lower class by raising minimum wage, in which case they're too fucking stupid to be put in a position of authority and power. Anyways, thanks for coming to my dead talk. Stay safe and try and survive in this shithole that's going on these days. Have fun.